Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcia Fry. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. So my name is Marcia Fry, and I am the founder of Out and About Style magazine. It is my pleasure to be here to talk to you today about purpose-driven media and to show you what we do at Out and About Style magazine and why we do it. I'm going to take you through a little bit of a presentation. I want you to be very interactive. Do ask me as many questions as you'd like. I'll do my best to answer those as we go through. If it's a question that is really burning, feel free to throw the question in. Or otherwise, please wait until the end and we will take all the questions. So let me just start with Out and About Style, what we do. So you'll notice that the first thing you see on the screen is no celebrities and no gossip. At Out and About Style, we pride ourselves on bringing you real people. So everyday people like you and I. We want to take this stigma around who is in the media away from it's only celebrities. Everyday people like you and I are also there in the media, or should be there in the media. We don't see enough of that, and we want to make sure that's what's happening. So let's talk a little bit about our story, the Out and About Style story, and why we do what we do. So as I mentioned, our aim is to bring to you the real stories and relatable content. So when you look in the magazine, you should be able to see people that you recognize. On my screen at the moment is our very first cover. And on that cover, we were talking about Beyond Beauty. So when you look in most magazines now, the definition of beauty is very different. It can be very different. So what we want you to come with is show you someone with vitiligo, two people with vitiligo, someone with alopecia. Is that something you generally see? We want to be able to let you understand that that is normal. It's very real and it's very acceptable for everyday people to see that sort of thing in the media. Now, I'll tell you a story. I love to tell stories. I'm a teacher. And I'll tell you a story. One side of the story is about someone who inspired me as a person when I started the magazine, and even before, when I moved to the UAE 10 years ago. And then the second person is someone who the magazine inspired. Now, on your right is Donna Benton. And if you don't know Donna Benton, you should find out a lot more about her. What I'm doing right now is just sharing a little bit of the story and how she inspired me. She moved to the UAE probably about 19, 20 years ago. She said she was driving down Sheikh Zayed Road and she noticed that there were lots of restaurants. So she wanted to come up with a concept that will allow people to save money on restaurants. It was mainly focused on restaurants at that time. She had 3,000 Australian dollars. She didn't have a laptop, she didn't have a computer. So she went to her local internet cafe and she put a business plan together for what we now know as the Entertainer. The Entertainer started from very, very, very simple roots, as you can see. And in 2018, the Entertainer sold 85% of its shares for over 300 million US dollars. Now that is a very inspirational story. And you will find a full interview with Donna in one of our magazines on the website. How many of us knew that story? How many of us used the Entertainer, but you never knew the story behind it? So that's something that we want to do. That's a story that inspired me, and that's a story that I've shared in the magazine. Now, on the left of the screen is a young lady called Massey, and she's a teacher from South Africa. We all know what African women generally look like if we generalize. Now, Massey struggled with the way she looked because of something that happened to her at 12 years old. When she was 12 years old, her aunt told her that her bum was too big. And since 12 years old, she's now 32, it took her 20 years to accept who she is as a person. And one of the things that she said to me when she wrote to me is that the type of content you shared inspired me to share my story, because I'm sure there are lots of other young ladies out there who've not been able to accept themselves because of how they look. It took her 20 years to accept what she looks like. And that's a story we shared in this month's issue of the magazine. So you can go ahead and you can have a look at Mass's full story. Now, that just gives you an idea of why Out and About Style magazine. We do what we do because I not just believe, I strongly believe in the purpose behind the magazine. So purpose is, what are we doing beyond profit? So many companies across the world talk about purpose. But as a company, or if you are going to start a company, or if you already own shares in a company, think about it. What is the purpose of the company? What is the company doing beyond profit? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to serve beyond profit? Whose life are you trying to change, excluding the money? We're not talking about money here. Companies go into business to make a profit, yes. However, lots of companies do have a purpose, and it's not just about the money, but it is about changing lives. So we need to be able to differentiate between purpose, vision, and mission. And at Out and About Style, we put strong importance on purpose. What's our purpose? Most companies, they have a vision, they have a mission, they have a where are we going, and they have a how we're getting there. However, how many of them try to make sure that they have a conscious purpose? A conscious purpose that means you can impact someone else's life outside of your profit, and you've actually set out to do that. Think about some of the companies that you know at the moment, and think about what their purpose is. Can you see their purpose? Do you know how they're trying to impact the world? Do share some of those as well. And if you are thinking about starting a company, think about what you want that purpose to be. Now, what do purpose-driven media companies do? They do a lot of things. So they try to integrate purpose into their strategies. They try to integrate purpose into their day-to-day lives, and day-to-day work lives. They try to harness the power of purpose when they innovate. They try to engage their partners through purpose. But for me, the most important thing when you talk about purpose-driven media is that you take a stance. What stance is the media industry at the moment taking? I want you to think about you going into a shop, going to a supermarket, or think about going online and you've picked up a magazine. Whatever the magazine is, you've picked up that magazine. Think about one that you've read recently. Are you able to tell the stance that company takes? Is it that we're just going to show celebrities? Is it that we're showing cars? Whatever it is, as the reader, are you able to tell the stance the company takes? Now, for me and for Out and About Style, the stance is extremely important. And our stance is we will never, ever, ever publish something that includes anything to do with celebrities, because I believe that we are all celebrities in our own right. People don't get to see what everybody do, and that's because the media is sometimes very slanted and it's focused on celebrities and what celebrities have achieved. I believe if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So for us, it's going to be no celebrities in or Out and About Style magazine. I remember having a discussion with someone, or it was an interview, and someone said to me, so if Beyonce came up to you and asked you to do an interview for Out and About Style magazine, what would you do? Now, my answer at the time was, and still is, I would have to create a different magazine for her, because Out and About Style magazine is not the one for her. Because this one is for your everyday people, everyday relatable content. People that you and I know, people that you and I love, people that can inspire you and I, and not celebrities who've achieved what they've achieved in their own right. However, they are not necessarily reachable unless they're your family members. And even then, sometimes they're not as reachable. Now, how do you develop a purpose-driven media brand if it's something that you're looking to do? So the first thing you want to do is to find a purpose. find a bigger purpose. So what is the problem that you're trying to solve in the world? Once you think about the problem you're trying to solve in the world, then you are going to build a strategy for that. Now, I'm hoping that in your purpose-driven media company, you want to inspire other people. So you're going to tell inspirational stories and you're going to inspire others through your story. You're going to connect your actions to your purpose. So whatever you do, like for us, we're a monthly magazine. We cover fashion, beauty, arts. The reason why we have so many different topics is that you can see different people from different angles, and you can also see different relatable content. And we have different types of people who write content for the magazine. Also, you need to make a long-term commitment. You are going to be doing this for a very long time. Now, when you start out, you probably won't make money. It probably will take you a while to make money. However, if you're committed to the purpose, then the money will come. Your focus is on making a difference. So I want to make a difference. I do want to make a profit as well. Let's not get that wrong. We want to make a profit as well. However, we're committed to the purpose of sharing relatable content about relatable people on a monthly basis. Share that out there, share that narrative. And when you talk about monetizing, you're going to target people that are actually in support of your cause. And you're going to look at the companies that are making a difference, the companies that have a purpose, and you're going to target them as means of monetizing your company. Now, I just wanted to run through those quick points so that I can actually share the magazine with you, show you what we do, and just talk you through how we come up with content on a monthly basis. I will share this last screen again, but I just wanted us to have a look at this month's issue of Out and About Style magazine, where on the cover we have Mr. Joe Osawu, and he is the CEO and owner of Kiza Restaurant in Dubai. If you've ever been to Kiza down in DIFC, then that's the gentleman that we talked to this month in our Behind the Brand section. So once you go on our website, that's what you will see once you click on the magazine. And this is the magazine for this month. We love color, so you will usually see a very colorful magazine. We talk to a different number of people. Once you open the magazine, you should see some colorful images. Now, usually start with I would say it is quite lengthy usually, the editor's welcome, but I try to take you through what's in the magazine and what you can expect. Now, in terms of content for the magazine, we go through fashion, beauty, behind the brand, taking lessons, lifestyle, food. So there's a bit of everything. There's a bit of everything so everybody can get something out of it. I'm going to just have a quick flip through the magazine, and then we'll come back to one story in particular. So in fashion this month, we spoke to one of the wedding creators in Dubai. She's based in Dubai. However, she does destination weddings for people outside of the UAE. So if you're looking to get married in the future and you're looking to get married outside of the UAE, or if you have family outside of the UAE who want to get married in the UAE, now that's someone who could help you out. We are very big on pictures, and I love color. So you will see lots of color in the magazine as we flip through. Please share your feedback. Very, very, very much appreciated. I'm just letting you have a quick flip through the magazine, and then, as I said, we'll talk about a particular story that will be of interest, especially because most of the students who are watching are fashion students. So we'll look at one of the fashion articles. And as you're experts as well in media, do let me know what you think about the colors, the layout, and all of that. How does it appeal to you? As I said, we share very, very relatable content. In this story, we are talking about how you can use milk. So, you know, we're trying to save money now. We're going through a difficult situation, and we probably don't have a lot of money to go to the salon. So how can you use things at home to go through your beauty routines the way you used to? So as I said, a quick flip through. That's our story with Mr. Joe, who's the founder of Kiza Restaurant. We take lessons from Spencer Lodge. If you don't know Spencer Lodge, maybe look him up on LinkedIn. He does a great podcast. If you want to learn more about money, he's a great person to talk to. You can watch.
So while we're waiting for her, so for our attendees, so she's going to focus later on one of the feature articles, which is very interesting, especially for fashion students. Though I've seen this magazine already, and I have my own, feedback about it. And personally, I like the way it was put together, how it's being layouted, and the general content. It's something different, not about, celebrities and people who are very famous, but focusing on the lives of ordinary people.
I think for all attendees and participants, um, you would have noticed that how well the magazine has been coordinated and how balanced the pictures and the write-up is. I mean, everything is on the, you have to notice for the students, especially in media and fashion, you have to notice how well it has been coordinated, where the pictures have been zoomed in, where it has been balanced with shadow falling on the face, or where how the font size is. So everything is very, very important. The story that Marsha is going to narrate is also very interesting. She has shared the story with me, and we had a chat yesterday. So we are going to talk about that, which is a very interesting story, and she is going to explain to you about that.
Anyway, I can see some fashion students attending, specifically the ones taking fashion journalism, and there are also media students who are interested in joining, like writing articles for magazines.
Very soon, when Miss Marsha comes back, she is going to talk about her magazine and more about the articles that is published. And the best part about this magazine is it is for you and me. It is for a common person. There is no gossip and there is no celebrity highlights in this. It is more for a common man, and how the journey of a common man from the struggles that he or she has done till the end, and what and how she's achieved it. So it is a very nice magazine.
Are you able to?
Welcome back, Ms. Marsha.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks.
And one student gave her feedback. Just
Okay.
she mentioned, "I love and appreciate the colors. I love the way how the magazine is presented. Would love to know and hear about more about this magazine."
Oh, fabulous. I will share, as I said, I will share the details of how people can get in touch and get involved afterwards as well. We also, as I said, share relatable, very relatable content. So we asked, this is the story we talked about with Masse, just talking about her obsession with weight loss. It's a great, great story to read. It will be very relatable for lots of young ladies, but lots of us go through this period of, like myself, I don't like how I look. I think I should try to change something. And a lot of times it can be detrimental to our health. So I'd encourage you to go through, especially if you're a young lady, go through and read that story as well. Very relatable. We've got some content about dealing with stress in the workplace, and this works for school as well. How do you deal with stress? What's the best ways, the best tips? And this is from one of our contributors that works with different companies across the UAE. About how to deal with stress in the workplace. I can't say I love food, but I know everybody else probably does. So we do try to share lots of content around food, but not just any old content, but things that could be helpful as well. I'm vegetarian, and therefore I have to think a little bit about how I can get protein in my diet. So this is one of the ways. So when I think about something, or when I have a conversation with somebody else, that brings out ideas of content as well for the magazine. So how do vegans get protein in their diet? That's something that we shared in the magazine that you can go through. If you're vegetarian or vegan, these are your sources. Talk about foods from different cultures. So this month we're talking about Moroccan food, Moroccan tagine, and that goes along with our travel section as well. Again, if you're vegan or vegetarian, where in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, can you find vegan restaurants? We share some content around that. You can always go back, as I said, and read the magazine to find out details about that. There's a fitness section. In fitness this month, we talk about not only having super ripped abs, but why it's important to focus on your core. Travel, again, it's very colorful, very pretty, takes you on a tour of Morocco. In the last section of the magazine is for the culture. And we tend to call this section for the culture. It's very targeted at, giving you specific information around yourself and dealing with yourself and how you can really help yourself. So whatever culture you're from, this section, you can relate it to your culture, whatever culture that is. So we usually have 2 writers for this section. If there's anybody in the audience who wants to write for us, we will talk about that as well. In every issue of the magazine, there's something that I try to do, and that's a book review. That's usually focused on a book that I'm reading or someone else in the team is reading. We try to get books that are very impactful. So in this issue, we talk about the compound effect. If you've not read that book, that's definitely a book that you want to go out and either, you can get them on YouTube. So you don't have to spend money on all of these things. If you don't like to read like a hard copy, feel free to go on YouTube and look for an audio book and listen to it from there. Or if you are into the books, a hard copy book, then go ahead and buy yourself a copy. Read the introduction, read the overview of it, and then see if it's something that you'd like to read. But I definitely recommend it. So I'm just going to take you back to this fashion section, because I know most of you students are fashion students. Now, as I said, we at Out and About Style, we try to make sure that our content not only looks pretty, but there is something informational for you. Now, one of the things that we looked at is the white wedding dress. And how many of us know the history behind the white wedding dress? Why people started wearing white wedding dresses. Now, prior to the mid-19th century, nobody wore a white wedding dress because the idea was that you should wear a dress that you're going to wear again. You should never wear a new dress that you're never going to wear again. But now with weddings, we tend to see, and when I'm talking about this type of wedding, I'm talking about mainly Western weddings. I know I've been to many weddings here, and the bride still wear a white dress. But what's the history behind that? Now, how many of us know that before the mid-19th century, nobody wore white dresses? And the reason behind that was because they didn't think it was a good thing to be doing. And I know still in the Indian culture, wearing white is just still a no-no. But in the West, the reason why white and lace started was because the then queen wanted to help that industry. So they weren't selling lace. The industry wasn't selling lace, in particularly white lace wasn't being sold. So one of the ways of getting that sold was to make her wedding dress from it. And that just took off. Women, brides around the world, used that queen's dress as the model for what wedding dresses in the West should look like. Now, how many of us knew that story? Where else would you find that story? That's the type of content that we pride ourselves on bringing to you at Out and About Style magazine. So not just pretty dresses, but something behind the dress, something that you can learn behind whatever content that we bring to you. I am going to stop there in terms of talking. I feel like I have talked quite a lot, and I would love to hear your questions. So please do share your questions. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you would like to ask.
I would like to ask from my end. This is my personal question, Miss Marcia, just to begin. Regarding the title of the magazine, when you started about this, choosing about the title, definitely you know what's the purpose and what's the vision of your magazine. So, can you share to us what are the other options of title you have think before coming up with this Out and About Style magazine, and how do you relate this title to your vision and to your purpose?
So the title came from, again, and that's a whole story of how the title came about. I love fashion and I love clothes and I love being out and about. When I actually started, I had a blog, and the whole idea of the blog was to just go around the UAE, see fashionable people, and go up to them and say, "Oh, I love the way you're dressed. Can I take a picture of you for my blog?" And that was all about seeing people's style, being out and about. So it really started from there. Since I started the magazine, I've had a lot of thought about changing the name, how people take it. Some people think, oh, it's a little bit too long. So, I've thought about cutting it down to just out and about, because everybody calls it out and about. So I thought, oh, maybe I should cut it down to out and about. But when I think about it, I think about the out and about being different people, different places around the UAE, around the Gulf. And style is not only about your clothes. So style is way bigger than just clothing. Style is about you as a person, what you wear, what you stand for. So I have been thinking, Mr. Bettman, about changing the name, but I think the name sticks, and I think most people have stuck to out and about.
Thank you, Miss Marcia. Miss Richard, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask one question to Ms. Marsha. I mean, it's come from an attendee that how do you decide on who to be featured for this month? I mean, what is your choosing criteria?
Okay, now that usually comes from different places, as I mentioned. Now, before the pandemic, I did a lot of being out and about, and I meet a lot of people. So there, lots of people would approach me and say they would like to be featured. If they have a powerful enough story, that's something we will consider. Also, we look at, I'm very big on stalking. So those who know me know that I'm a big stalker, but for the right reasons, with a purpose. And so if I see people out there and I think the audience would benefit from such a story, then I make sure I approach them and I try to bring that story to the audience. So it's twofold. It's either I'm stalking someone or someone comes to me. And the other concepts we brainstorm on a monthly basis.
Right. Ms. Marsha, there's one more question from our one of the faculties, but not from the fashion faculty. So she wants to know how are style magazines different from other magazines, like business magazines or other magazines? Yeah.
How is it different? Like I mentioned, our stance is relatable content and absolutely no celebrities. So I think just that alone makes us stand out, because when you look at a business magazine, it's focused completely on just business. For us, we look at being well-rounded. So we look at the fashion, we look at the beauty, we look at culture, we look at lifestyle, without involving any celebrities at all. We want to say that we are our own celebrities. We inspire each other in every different area. So therefore, we don't need to have them or talk about them in our content. We have a question here. We have a couple of questions, private questions. How was it like? What was it like to start up, and how did you do it? Okay, so starting up, tough. I'm being very honest with you, very, very tough. When I started, I decided, okay, we're going to start in August. August came. I was like, no, we're not ready. We got to November. And I was like, no, we're still not ready. And I said, okay, February, we should have everything ready. Now, as I said, we are a very small team. We're 3 people, 3 amazing, I won't count myself as amazing, but 2 amazing other people that I work with. And that's my co-editor and my graphic designer. So everything you see here is put together by me and contributions from the world. So if you'd like to contribute and support us, that's something that we'll definitely love. We have a few other questions. What's my degree background and where did the idea come from? So if you're at the beginning of the session, I am a maths and science teacher. I also have a master's degree in special education. So that's my background. And lots of people ask, that's a very logical background, but you are into something that has to do with writing. That's because I have a passion for reality. So as a very logical person, reality is very big to me. And when I tell people, as a child, I didn't watch cartoons because till this day, I still think that's not reality. So why should I watch that? And with my son, I'm like, but it's not real. That's not real. So, so that's where the whole idea comes from. I love to see reality. So therefore, as I said, I was a blogger before I started blogging. So the idea came from that, showing people stuff that's real. Does anyone else look at the TV and then complain? I do a lot of that. I look at the TV and I'm like, but that's not how real people look, and that's not something to live up to. So it was about putting all of those together.
Yeah, I have a question here from Heath Lamar Bailey. I think he's one of our guests from other countries. How important is to be culturally responsive, diverse, and knowledgeable about various ethnicities in order to reach everyone?
Absolutely important, super important. And that, so let me, I said, I like to tell stories a little bit. So when I started the magazine, I did have a conversation with someone. And as a Black woman, and especially I am a Black woman, we are not represented very well all the time. And for me to present such a magazine to someone else might look like, oh no, why are you not making it Black? Someone said that to me. Someone said to me, this is so powerful. You should make it a Black magazine. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Never, no day. Because when you open the magazine, you see a Black woman as the editor-in-chief and as the founder. I believe that's powerful enough. The content that's in the magazine is for everybody. Whether you're Black, white, Chinese, pink, purple, whatever you are, we still have the same issues. We still look for the same inspiration. We still need knowledge. So being diverse is very, very important to me. And when you look at the magazine, you will see that everybody is represented and everybody will continue to be represented.
I have a question here also. Love to hear your thought about the purpose of magazine. Do you think talking about ordinary non-celebrity people limits your earnings through advertisements? How do you manage that?
Okay, so I did talk about targeting your target causes. Now, everyday people go to hotels, yes? Everyday people buy products. So it doesn't limit us in any way at all. We are so used to seeing magazines that have celebrities, and that's why our thoughts are that way. Now, you use products, you go to the supermarket, you go to hotels, you travel, you do all the things that celebrities do on a smaller scale. You probably don't have a private jet to fly you around the world in 20 seconds, but you do travel outside of the UAE sometimes. You have a staycation. You go to the mall, you go to shops. You are the ones that buy. So celebrities get everything for free. You buy. So look at it in that way.
Okay. Ms. Marsha, you mentioned that you stalk people. One of the attendees want to know, how do you stalk people and where do you look for people?
Um,
They want to be stalked, I think. That's the
okay. I am
question.
a very, very proud stalker. So one of the things, so I scour Instagram, but LinkedIn is a key place for me because I want to see a little bit more about, you don't have to be big on LinkedIn and big on business or so on. But Instagram is also a great place for me. So I will sit for hours and just go through Instagram, look at people. Oh, this person looks interesting. Then I start to make contact. So Instagram is a big place for me, and also LinkedIn. And as I said, before the pandemic, I did go out a lot. So I go to every single networking event. I was there because I'm always listening and looking for the next person. So I go out and I listen a lot, and then I stalk. I take their business cards and then I stalk after.
Okay. The same person wants to know the challenges you face in this business.
Okay, so it's a monthly magazine. Therefore, creating, collating all that content on a monthly basis, plus having another job takes its toll. It is a lot of work. When I look at the magazine, I'm so grateful for what we produced. However, on a monthly basis, it means a lot of commitment, a lot of work. I have a 7-year-old who was just trying to enter the room, and it does mean that I have to take a little bit of time away from him, which is sad, but he understands. He knows the magazine. He thinks, oh, mommy, but your magazine is not about famous people, but you're famous because you're everywhere. But he understands that, mommy is doing this for the greater good and for him, so that this is something that he can inherit later on. So in terms of challenges, the main challenge is really, getting it done, and getting it done well on a monthly basis. Mr. Donovan is asking, how about a kids section? Maybe we can think about a magazine for children in the future. That would be to think about. There's another question. Where do you get your inspiration for creating the content? Because it's very unique. Thank you very much. So the content comes from various places. I remember going to the office and having a conversation one morning about, I think we were talking about carrots. Because I usually bring healthy food to the office, and someone mentioned carrots. And then the conversation went to, oh, so do you know that some of these fruits and vegetables are not quote unquote real? And that just struck something in my head. And I'm like, yes, because things like eggplant, that's not how it looked prior to this. Bananas, they didn't look like that before. So that would be a great concept. It would be very good to share with the audience, because many of us knew that bananas were not yellow and didn't look like they look now. They were green and had lots of seeds in them prior to them becoming this hybrid yellow fruit that we now have. So we wrote a story about man-made fruits and vegetables that you probably didn't know about. So it comes from brainstorm with the team, or just having a conversation with someone. We put together a plan of what we're going to do. Sometimes we have contributors who come in with a topic that we think, okay, this fits very well with whatever else we're doing. So that's how we come up with the content.
Okay. There is
A question here. Yeah, no problem. Okay. This is
I,
from a media student.
yeah, I was
She
saying the
was
same.
asking, yeah, what do you look for when you hire or accept a contributor writer for your magazine? How important it is for them to have experience in the field professionally, or about their social media presence?
Okay, so I have had writers. So Massey, for example, in this issue, Massey doesn't have a big social media presence. She is not a writer. She's a teacher, but she had a great story that she wanted to share. So when she spoke to me about it, I said, yes, put it together and send it to me. We don't want to have to do a lot of editing, but if the story is very impactful and very important, then we will take that and we will edit it. So I'm saying that to say, you don't have to have a lot of experience. We're not looking for anybody who has been a journalist for 10 years. If you can write and it makes sense and it's impactful, then do share that with me. And if it's something that fits in the issue that we're doing or in a future issue, then we welcome you to share it, whatever, to share that content with us. As long as it doesn't. Okay, so I had a writer share something with me last month, and it was very heavy on COVID. And I said to her that I want to move away from, we know it's happening and we're in the pandemic and we're dealing with it, but we want to also share something outside of COVID as well. We want to make sure that people can see beyond COVID. So if we just share content around that, then people feel like they're just stuck here and now and they can't see forward. So if it's something like that, then we ask people to just, can you just reframe it a little bit so that it's a little bit more general? So I will, if you share something and I feel like it is useful, then I do give you feedback on it. Again, I'm a teacher, so feedback, I still do feedback. But feel free, if it's something that you've written or would like to write, then we will accept that. Okay, Mr. Bethoven. I have another question here. It's about when I hire a writer. In terms of other employees, I've had the same graphic designer since we started. So we are more than family now. He understands the purpose. He understands me and I understand him. If you are in graphic design and you think that you can offer something, that's definitely something that we can discuss. However, in terms of graphic design, I think we're quite solid there. In terms of editing, we also have a second editor because my eyes only will not make sure that all of that content is 100% spot on, and that's important for us. So we also have a junior editor. I will talk to Miss Risha after this, and we've had that conversation already about internships, and if students would like to intern at the magazine, that's a discussion that we're going to have as well. If you think you are, because that's important as well. If you think you have expertise in certain areas that would support a magazine, definitely also reach out to me after the session. That would be helpful to us, and I'm sure it would be also helpful to you.
Yeah, we have Ms. Marsha. We have a question here from a faculty member of fashion design. She wants to know, how was your being in the UAE contributed to your career and personal decisions?
Okay, being in the UAE. Okay, so we moved to the UAE 10 years ago almost, and it was a discussion that happened between my friend and I in our staff room in our school in Tottenham. And the conversation went, are you not tired of being in London? How about we just look at something outside? We lived close to each other, so we decided, okay, we're just going to go and apply for jobs. We're teachers, apply for jobs and see where it takes us. So when we moved to the UAE, both moved as education advisors working with the government. Now, here opened so many doors. You start seeing a lot of different things that you can do. In London is very developed and there are lots of different things, but in the UAE, it's still developing in certain areas. So there are lots of opportunities, and the UAE does offer you an opportunity to do anything that you want to do. So anything that comes to mind, if you put your mind to it, you can act. I also own a line, so yeah, it's been a journey to the magazine.
Yeah, Ms. Marsha, I think the questions, we are done with the questions. We don't have any more questions. If you have any message for my students, for our students across the globe, you can please conclude the session. And then, yeah.
Just wanted to share the magazine contact details. If anybody would like to get in touch, I'm just going to open the presentation again so that we can see the contacts. I'm just going to share my screen. And is everybody able to see?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
Mhm.
If to read the magazine, it's outandaboutstylemag.com. We're on social media, Out and About Style Mag, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. If you'd like to collaborate in any way, if you'd like to write, you can either email Marsha at outandaboutstylemag.com, or you can send your emails to hello@outandaboutstylemag.com. And one of us will be sure to attend to you. And I would really love to hear more from more contributors. So please don't feel shy. As I said, I stalk, so feel free to stalk as well. I like a good stalker because I feel like you're going for it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marsha. That was a wonderful and insightful session. I would like to thank on behalf of entire Amity University and to all a very big thank you to all the participants and attendees who have shown keen interest in whatever you have shared with us. Yeah.